Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And finally, check out my new book on Amazon. It's a short read. You can read the whole thing in 3 or 4 hours, but it gives a really good summary overview of the history of AI and how AI is already impacting 10 different industries that pretty much cross the entire spectrum of industries. So I hope you get it and I hope you like it, and reviews would be appreciated. Continuing our theme this week of coming back to a little bit older news, because this one is important, and I found the article again and I wanted to bring it back up. So NASA uses AI a lot. And in fact, I believe it was yesterday morning, NASA launched their newest research spacecraft, the Lucy spacecraft, which is going to study the Trojan asteroids that lead and follow in the orbit of Jupiter at stable points. And these are rocks literally from the beginning of the formation of the solar system. So this will give NASA and the global science community unprecedented knowledge about how our solar system formed. And that's important to know. And why did I bring that up? Because NASA uses AI all the time. This is a 12-year mission, over 4 billion miles, and the entire track that Lucy will follow over those billions of miles is AI driven. That's why I brought up Lucy. But what I just told you directly relates to the article I'm going to talk about, which is going back to 2020, AI discovered 11 asteroids that are dangerous to Earth and big, and tracked their path so that we know what we have to do to redirect possibly these asteroids in the future. Now, it's not anytime soon, but that doesn't matter when you're talking about asteroids big enough to literally destroy. It won't be a global cataclysm like the extinction of the dinosaurs, but it will wipe out a whole region of the Earth depending on where it hits. Not something you want to happen. So this is another very human-centered, beneficial use of AI. And AI is able to find patterns that humans can't, because they can be, AI can be trained over millions of data sets, whereas a human being cannot. So it's also true that humans can spot things that AI still can't. But this is a good example of AI leading the way in asteroid detection. So interestingly, NASA is also just about to launch another mission that will be to a small asteroid, and it's the DART mission, and it will be an attempt to redirect this small asteroid away from its current orbit. So this is an early attempt at the technology that's going to be needed to redirect asteroids or comets. This would include comets that are on a collision course with Earth. So we've all seen the disaster movies with the comets hitting and all that, but this is obviously a real danger. What's also interesting in that article is that it said that these particular asteroids are in what is called a chaotic orbit, which means it is not a stable orbit, difficult to predict. And that is why there was not an understanding that these particular asteroids were potentially hazardous to the Earth. So this is a whole new thing that NASA has fairly recently learned about, that not only are there a large number of asteroids and comets that are potentially hazardous to the Earth, but further, some of these are in these chaotic orbits. That means that it's very difficult to predict and analyze. So AI is a very good human-centered use in this case. And I have to say, for NASA's part, all of their applications of AI are very constructive in this way, because they're all oriented either towards enhancing their research or protecting the Earth, like this story. Whether it's our climate or asteroids or any number of things. One of the things that NASA uses AI for to study is the sun. And we've talked about Carrington events, which is a massive solar flare that produces an EMP burst on the Earth and would fry all our electronics and instantly put us back in the Stone Age. That would be unfortunate too. So the work NASA is doing is very, very beneficial to humans. And further, NASA publicly shares all their information. So both on these potentially hazardous asteroids and on the Lucy mention, all data will be publicly shared by NASA for anyone to use, whether they're a researcher or a member of the general public. So AI is leading the way at NASA. AI is leading the way for the Lucy expedition. AI is leading the way on finding hazardous objects that may impact the Earth. And this is a good use of AI as opposed to some of the ones you don't want that we've talked about on other videos. So great stuff from NASA, a lot going on both just yesterday and a year ago. But it's good to revisit topics and talk about how AI is being used more and more often in the space community, more and more often in every sector of our economy. On that subject, check out my book, which will tell you in 10 different industry sectors how AI is being used right now and how it will be further used. The video that posts today talks about the factory of the future, fully autonomous, no humans except maintenance, mechanics, and security. So this is the downside of AI. AI is no different than everything else. Has good and bad aspects to it, just like people, just like everything. So thanks so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. Make sure to check us out on our other platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Check out the book, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.